Good morning. It's Friday. It seems like it was just the other day. It was the other day, but it seems like time went by so quick. So quick this week. How did your week go? How was your trading week? I'm getting some feedback from Hugo. Yugoslav was saying that his trade was good. Yugoslav, how was your week overall? Did you make money this week? Hopefully you did. Hopefully you had a good week. Hello, Ulysses. Hello, Henrik. Hello, Yugoslav. Thank you guys for stepping in. We're going to go ahead and do some analysis today. But you know what would be great is if I could just get some feedback from everyone. We got 23 people on. If everybody could tell me how was their trading week, there's no shame here. Was it good, bad, success, fail? Did you obey your rules? Did you disobey your rules? Like, how did you do this week? Okay. Good morning, Joe. Fine. Oh, 50%. Man, Heinrich, that's pretty legit. That's pretty good, man. Okay, so Yugoslav has some trades he wants to give us some suggestions on. We'll take a look at those, but I wanted to talk about gold. So I was watching this one, and as you guys know, I like this. And by the way, I took a couple trades on Wednesday, and I'll let you know how those worked out. One was the US CAD, and the other was the Euro Pound. And I ended up taking a loss on the Euro Pound. No. I made money on the Euro Pound, and I ended up taking a loss on what else would I take a loss on? On the USD CAD. Okay. All right. 2 take profit, 2 stop loss. Hey Tony, good to see you. Yeah, Ulysses, you just got to be patient. Good morning, Merle. Thank you all. Good morning. Really glad to see everybody. All right. So as you can see, this is a pretty nice looking setup here on the gold. I was watching this for a breakout. I was actually watching on a lower time frame so I could get in a little bit earlier. But you can see it just had a really nice breakout right here. And there was 2 opportunities to get into this. One was here, and then we just had one just recently here. Now, with that being said, I still think it's probably not too late to get into this trade, because if we look at the 4-hour, I think that it probably has some room to get maybe up here. Okay, I think that we could get up here. We got this resistance, and then we have this resistance. So I think we're going to smash right through here and head on up. And of course, as I always said, nice, Ben. Ben, I thought you told me that gold was terrible and it was going to drop. Oh, you can't see my screen. Well, thanks. Oh, man, I'm funny. Yeah, so let me go back. I was just telling you this is where I'm thinking it could go, right? Because of that nice candle. We got resistance right up here at 1800 range, but I think it might bust through and go to 1805 personally. That was 2 weeks ago. I'm way behind the times. I'm way behind. But anyways, so let's go ahead now and look at a 15-minute chart here. And so just for a recap, I ended up making money on that Euro Pound trade. It ended up being a great trade. And I ended up losing on the USD CAD. So it was 1-1, but the good news is I made more money on the Euro Pound than I did. And that's kind of the key. That's kind of the key to being a great trader is, make your winners count, right? Make your winners count. So, so here we go. We got this specific trade. It happened here. And then we had another one here. So you could have took a nice win here, or you could have held it for long term. I'm thinking right now, it's definitely overextended, but I believe that if we look at a 4 hour, I think it's probably going to break through here. I don't know. It might come back down here first, or it might do some other things, but I would just be watching it. We are at resistance, and sometimes when we get a nice spike up here into resistance, sometimes it'll keep going. And even on a Friday, sometimes a Friday will just crush through. Let's look at it on a weekly, because the way the candle closes will set the tone for next week, right? So if we look at a weekly chart, and please tell me that you guys remember. Please tell me you guys remember when I did this double bottom on the weekly. This was one of my best analyses ever, is when I said, this is a pin bar. Look at this thing. It's $17.32. We're up $70. So that was a pretty nice one. Right now, we do have, we've got this going on. So there's a possible resistance right here. We also have this going on, which it broke that resistance, right? So I think that the top of this channel is about ready to get tested, okay? And so it's good to look at the longer term because you can see where it will slam, right? Because even if you're looking at a 4 hour like we were, we saw that other channel, you can't really see where, so let's draw this. We see this, but we couldn't see that other line, right? We can't see where it's going to slam in because there's hidden stuff that we can't see. So now that we have this line, let's go back to a weekly, and you can see, look at that. They kind of intersect. The top of that channel is actually intersecting with this. So I would, I think that there's a high probability it's going to get there, to be honest. I think there's a high probability that it gets right up into this zone. They're right at the same place. The top of this channel and here are right at the same place. And coincidentally, this 50 period moving average is in that area too. So there's a lot of stuff right there that could really it could really operate as a resistance point. So let's see. So Ben just made a really nice comment here. He said that there's a range fake pattern on gold weekly, which will show better on the daily or 4. Let's take a look at it. And I think I know what he's talking about. So if I am understanding correctly, this is like the range. See that range, fake, and then move. Range, this is a move up, and then maybe down. Maybe that's what he was talking about. There's kind of a range here, so maybe he's talking about this. Like that maybe. I'm not really sure exactly what he's talking about, but if you see, we get the range, pop, and then down. Might be something that, okay, so wow, I'm on point today. Nice. Thanks, Ben. I really appreciate it. And that's Hugo's TP. So Hugo, yeah, keep your eyes on that. Definitely, yeah, GLD is very similar. I actually took, so let me just share a little how I operated on this. I took an options trade. Let me pull this up here. I took an options trade on gold on the weekly time frame. So let me show you. This is actually a great way to trade, by the way. Options weeklies are really cool. And so here's what I actually did. All right, I trade gold like on Forex, but I do these too because these are really fun. I went and bought calls on this weekly chart right here. At the close of this week, I bought gold calls, and that's GLD. Okay, so the thing about GLD is that it's just an ETF or whatever, which is an exchange traded fund, and it trades and moves exactly like gold. Okay, but it's not gold, it's just a gold fund, but you can trade options on it. And so I bought weeklies right here. And as you can see, if you just buy weeklies on good chart patterns, you can do really, really, really well. And you're only trading once a week. I think I talked about that in this show before. But if you take a look, there's some great, you can see some really good patterns. So, and you got to be patient, but look at this. So like, for example, this was a good weekly pattern, right? Off of the trend line, bullish candle, and then it kept moving. So you can get some really nice return on weekly. Now the thing about it though, Ben, when I'm trading, I will look for a longer time frame. Okay, so what I mean by that is that I will I look for a longer time frame. That's the question. Lorene is asking the question. So I like to give it some time. So let's take a look, and it depends on how long term my target is. Okay, so let's go to the options chain here, and you go to this options chain and you pull this up, and I like to give it some time. So if I'm looking at the weekly chart and I think it's going to go, it depends on how far I think it's going to go. If I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, this thing's probably going to go back up to 200, right? I'll give it some time. And so you can do really well by giving it some time because you don't have to worry about time decay, right? And so you put the option on here, and we're going to be like, okay, I think sometimes I even go out like to January 22, right? And then I buy. That gives me plenty of time, so I don't have to worry about the expiration. And so I can go out, and I can even buy out of the money. Remember we talked about buying out of the money, which out of the money makes them a lot cheaper, okay? So if I think it's going to go to 200, I can get this at $2.14. And by the time, it takes some time for this to develop though, right? So you get it cheap, but the problem is you have to wait. So you get it cheap, but by the time that it gets up to 200, if it gets up faster than what you think, then this volatility really makes it push up very high. But if you want to buy at the money, right? If you buy at the money, then you can get a higher delta. Okay, so the delta is how much it moves when the underlying moves $1. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So you'll see that if I buy 200, it's $2.14. My delta is 16 cents. So that means for every dollar that gold goes up, I make 16 cents. Now, as it goes up, so if it's 167, it goes up to 170, I make 16 cents per option. Or so that's $3. I make 16 times 3. Now it's $5. If it goes up to 175, it's 16 times roughly 10. But here's the thing. As the price gets closer to your target, the delta increases, right? So it keeps moving up and up and up and up. And so as you get towards the money, your delta gets really high. And then once you're above your target, then the delta really gets up there, right? And so and the value of your option really increases. And so if you can, there's sometimes a little bit of a middle ground. If you think that it's going to 200, you can buy like a 175, get it a little bit cheaper. And by the time it gets to 200, you buy a 175, that's $25 over. You look at right now, what's $25 over the current price? So if the options are selling for quite a bit of money, $25 is about 150. The 150 options are selling at $19, $20. So you could actually buy, if you think it's going to go to 200, you buy a 175, you get it for 6, and it goes all the way up to 20. That is tripling your money, and you triple your money in you're right. So the reason that they're cheap, right? The reason that out of the money is cheap is because the probability is so low, right? You really have to have a lot of trust in the option, right? You have to have a lot of trust. That's to me, if you're going to do out of the money, you really got to do you really have to do long term. And the thing is, you put a small amount on it and it goes and you triple, that's good. But if it goes to nothing, you just risk what you can afford to risk. But like I did one on Tesla not too long ago. I did one of these weeklies on Tesla. Now let me show you how I did that. Okay, so we got Tesla. Is that the right Tesla? The data is not coming in for some reason. Let's look at the chart. So I did this weekly chart on Tesla, and what did I do? I got in on this trend line, right? So I saw it bounced off this trend line. It might have been right here a couple weeks ago. Yeah. So 655. Well, the thing about options is it's definitely risky, but it's all about, to me, it's all about pricing and your time decay, right? If I use these weekly charts, and so I agree with Ben, Chris, that you shouldn't give up, but at the same time, you want to put your focus. I'm not saying give up. You don't want to give up, but you want to put your focus on what you're good at, right? So if you're good at stocks, then do stocks. If you're good at currency, do currency. If you're good at gold, do gold. You don't need to trade everything. You don't need to trade everything. You just need to trade what you're good at, right? And if you trade one thing and that's what you're good at, then just stick with it, because that's the secret. The secret is do one thing. Don't do everything. Do one thing and do it really, 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 really well. So I do like the options, though, especially on the weekly. Like I bought this one, and I bought this out of the money. And I bought it, I think about here, early April, and it just took off really quick. And I targeted $1,000 because I thought that it was going to go up to 1,000. So let's look at the options chart. Okay. So we go out. I believe it was the January ones I bought, and my thing's not updating. It's really irritating. It's not updating. I don't know what's going on, but I got in Tesla pretty cheap, and just to make a long story short with no evidence, I got in pretty cheap, and it ended up going about $100. The underlying went up about $100, and I was able to double my money really quick, right? And so I just got out, right? I could have held it longer, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I'm doubled my money. I'll get in. If it comes back down, I'll just do it again, right? And you just find things like that. You just find like gold and Tesla and things that are moving up, and you just wait for a really nice candle. It's just about being patient. You just wait for a really nice candle, and you find something and you make it happen. And you test your results, and you log everything, and you keep track of it. And as that happens, you'll begin to figure it out. And the biggest problem with options, here's the absolute biggest problem, is that they can, you put in 2,000, right? So let's say that my option costs $2,000. Well, with the out of the money, they lose value really quick. So if I would have put 2,000 in Tesla, right, and I would have bought the option, I'm telling you a success story, but let's talk about a fail, because I do those failures a lot too. I buy this Tesla, and I buy it out of the money. My option's up here to $1,000, and as soon as the next candle, let's just say the very next candle goes like this. Instead of going up, the next candle goes like this, right? You can lose that $2,000, the entire thing. This thing can go to worthless really super fast. So that's what the candle, that actually looks like a really good candle. That can go worthless really fast, and you just are out $2,000, right? $2,000 is terrible to lose in options, and it goes away so fast. And so, that's not good. I'm going to have to send him a message for that. I usually don't look too much. It can't open after the market opens. The market doesn't even open yet. But you don't use stops. You don't use stops, Chris. You just, the trade is the stop. So if I use 2,000, if I put 2,000 on an option, that is my stop. When it goes to zero, then that's a stop. So you just risk what you can afford to lose, right? That's how you do it. So we got some good questions here. Do you always buy options in the money or out of the money? Well, it depends. It really depends. I do both, right? I do both. If you buy in the money, you get a higher, it's more expensive, but it goes in profit really fast. So so I doubled my money on this trade, okay? And I went out of the money and I doubled my money. Had I bought in the money, I probably would have done a lot more. Linda, we just talked about gold a few minutes ago. Let's see what's happening. I'll come back to it in a minute, but we just kind of did a rundown on it. But had I bought the option here in the money, I probably would have made a lot more profit. You can make a lot more money. You can make a lot more money buying in the money, but the problem is on an option like Tesla, in the money was very expensive, right? And so to do that, I would have had to put up a lot, right? Well, Ruben, okay. Yeah. Okay, so my view of covered calls, I'm going to hit that, and I'm going to take a look at gold here real quick. Gold is just kind of meandering right along here, and we already did the analysis on that. I don't see anything really changing here. What's going on the 4 hour? It is pushing back a little bit. Pretty strong pullback, which could be a buyer's opportunity because I think that we're still headed up. So I will be watching this. I think this is a good buyer's opportunity. If you're nice, strong pullback, nice, strong push. I don't know if there was any news or not, but I still think it's going to go up to where we talked to about 1800, 1805. It got close. I mean, so maybe that was it. Maybe that was the push, but just watch the price action. If it breaks lower, we might get a head fake. You know, if it breaks lower, you always want to be aware of a possible head fake. You know, if it comes down, we might get some move like this, break lower, and then go back up, just trying to get to the target, trying to shake people out. So just remember that. Okay. I'm going to go back and talk about options here for a minute because Ruben was asking about covered calls. So for those of you that don't know what that means, what it means is I take the Tesla, and I buy 100 shares of Tesla today. Okay, so I buy 100 shares of Tesla at $717. So we have Tesla here, 717 times 100. And I know that you guys are like, is he seriously using a calculator for that? But yeah, it's $71,000. Okay, $71,000 is 100 shares. Now, we then look at the chart and we say, okay, Tesla is moving down today. I think it might move down a little bit. I think that we're going to hit a little bit lower, but overall, I like the stock. So I'm going to hold the stock, okay? So you own 100 shares. It cost you $71,000. Now, what you do to sell the option, it's called a covered call. So you will then go to your options, okay, and you will sell it. And I'm going to do a different one that's actually updated. Let's try GLD. We'll do GLD because GLD is updated. Okay, so we're going to go, we buy 100 shares of GLD, and this is a little bit cheaper. This is 168. So 168, it's $16,000 to have 100 shares of this. Okay, so this is one reason why people don't do covered calls is because you got to have a boatload of cash, right? 71,000 is not chump change. Okay, so we're buying 100 shares of GLD at $16,078. Now, we're at a resistance point. Okay, so I think that it's going to break down at least to 163 before breaking out. Okay, that's what the daily chart. It was down a little bit. Let's go to weekly. yeah, we're in a channel here. I think that it could break out, but I think that we might get a push down for a while. So where do I think is a safe place to sell a call? And why do I need a safe place? So I think 175 above this moving average here. I think the 200 period moving average, I think that's a really safe place to sell a call. Because why? Because I want to make money on my premium. So let's now go to the option. Okay, and we look at this. Okay, we go, so it's 167. Now let's go to 175. So you can sell the call here at 1 cent, right? So you sell this call. Actually, you can't even sell it. You got to go to 172. So 170. Oh, this is actually today's. That's why. Okay, I was like, why is it so low? Okay, we're gonna go now. We're gonna go out 7 days. Okay, and we're gonna go. And this is not updated. Silly little thing. Let me do something here. Give me a minute. I'm going to check out my other platform. Okay, so we're in GLD, and I'm going to pull this up. Okay, so here's my other platform here on GLD. Wait, hold on. Okay, so we got GLD right here. Now, we go up and we will look at April 30th, which is 7 days out. Okay, and we want to get it at 175. Now we have some good data. It's 6 cents. It's 6 cents. So it's 8 cents. So this is selling 6. So 6 cents. So we buy one call, or we sell one call at 6 cents, and we're going to look at the order, and we make $6. We make $6. So we invest $16,000 to own the shares, and we make $6 on a credit. Okay, now here's the thing. You might be like, well, $6 isn't very good, and it's not great, but you can actually do that. You can do that every single day, right? Well, not every day, but every week. Every week we could do that. We could go and we could sell a call every week, right? So we'll delete this order, clear it, and next week we could do the same thing, and you could just make $6 a week on that, right? And so if we make $6 a week, 16,800 is what it costs to buy the shares, and so we have that. We've got 6 times 52. It's $312, right? So some people call that collecting interest on your shares. So every week, you're making money every week. Now, with that being said, it might not work out, right? The trade might not work out, because how would it not work out? Well, let me show you. I got to use my other. If you sell your call and it goes up here, you're going to have to lose your shares, right? Because you're holding your shares as collateral. So because you're selling an option. Oh, there we go. The market opened. We're selling an option, right, to sell those shares at 175. So if it goes up to 178, well, you have to sell all of your shares. You have to sell all of your shares for $175. Okay, that's how that works. That's why it's an option. So you have to give up your shares. Now, you still could make money though, right? So it's kind of a win-win. So if you buy your shares today at 168, it's 16,800, right? But then you sell the 100 shares times at 175. Okay, that's 17,500 minus 16,800, right? 16,800. Okay, so there you go, right? You have to, you still make $700 on the sale of those shares, but the problem is you're not going to you're not going to get to keep them, and you're going to miss out on some of the profit. And so Pierre had a great comment here. Pierre had a good comment, and Pierre's comment is, why not go in a further date to get a better income and plan to close the position when it reaches half of what you get, right? So you can do that. You can go further out. If we go look at the options, right, we could go out, let's just say we go out 56 days, okay, and we'll sell it up here. You can see we get a little bit more money at 175, but honestly, I'm really thinking that in 65 days, it's going to be above this, right? So it would be kind of a crazy trade. But if I think for the next few days that it's going to go down, so you want to really look at your daily chart, right? So I want to see the daily chart, and I'm like, okay, we're at 167. We got a move down. What's going to happen next, right? What's going to happen next? So if you're going to do covered calls, you don't want to get called away, or you could get called away. It doesn't really matter. If you want to hold that stock long term. So it's a way to make money on both sides, whether it goes up or down. Okay, so based on our heads up, we could have a short on gold. Okay, let's take a look at it. All right, so let's look at the hourly time frame. We got a trend line right here. Price has been moving up for quite some time. Let's look at it on a 4-hour. The MACD is really over. It's been up for a while. We got a pin bar. So, my initial analysis, this is why trading is so hard. My initial analysis was it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. And everyone else probably had that analysis too. And that's why now we're getting a big pin bar. So I'm still not saying that it's totally over, but you see this big pin bar, right? So this is a 4-hour chart. And so if we get a pin bar right here, okay, if we get a pin bar right here, like that, and a close below this level, could be a nice sell. And there's a couple of places it could go. It could go to this moving average. It could go to 164. Well, Ben, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about buying the stock and doing a covered call. So you actually already own the stock. So right now we're looking at this possibly going down here if it breaks this level. So that'd be a really nice setup. So let's take a look. We got stop loss up here. Okay. A break here. Price now could go, I'd target, 200 pips to the downside and about 130 on the upside. So it could be a really nice short trade, but I wouldn't do it until we get some further confirmation. Although right now it's looking on a 4-hour time frame that's looking really, really bearish, right? That kind of a candle is extremely, extremely bearish. So, just something to consider there. And so that's what that is. And now let's keep moving here. So let's take a look at some of those pound setups. Because why do I want to look at pound? Because Yugoslav said that he wanted to look at it. That's why. All right. So here we go. Oh, that's not pound. That's XRP. XRP is moving down. Moving on down, right? Nice channel. Last time we hit the bottom of the channel, it popped up, didn't go up all the way. XRP might continue to move down from here. I would probably watch this. Watch this level, this shelf. If this shelf breaks, this could do, we could come back up here and break down here, or it could just break right here and do that. There's two different ways I think this might break, or it could break and go back up. Right? So there's always multiple different things that they happen. So, oh yeah, so I'm going to get back on track. I don't know why I was looking at this one. Maybe somebody wants XRP. But yeah, let's take a look at pound dollar. Okay, so pound dollar, you can see we got a move here, moving down. We got a big, huge drop. Let's look at it on a daily. Okay. Pound dollar was right here. Currently broke out of the channel and it went right back to the top. You could say that there was a new channel forming right here from here and here. That's always a possibility. And now so we have this downward channel. So right now it is actually right here is at a support level. Okay, it's at a support level. So with that being said, it's been down for 1, 2, 3, and this is the fourth day. Yugoslav was short, which is really solid. I'm not sure where you shorted, but it looks great. If you shorted on the break, you had a nice move there, so congratulations. I don't know where your target was. If you broke on this and you went down, that's an 80 pip. I will just watch this level right here because these trend lines are pretty good. If it breaks, we could keep moving down here. There you go. So that is my analysis there on the pound US. Let's go and look at it now on an hourly. Okay, so we still had that line. So we know now that it stopped right here. Okay, we've got a current new channel here. So the current price actually on the current, if he shorted here, that's pretty solid, right? Broke down, followed this new channel. And so where's a great place for a target? Here. These are two areas. This is a zone that it could get to. 138.16 to 137.68. Anywhere in this area, I would say would be a target zone. Right? You could put this as a target zone. And then I would also, there was also another thing that I would say, I would call that a TZ. A TZ, it's a target zone, but it's also an RZ. An RZ meaning reversal zone. Okay, so inside this area, once you have that zone identified, which we just did, we identified the zone, you would then look for some kind of signal, right? You'd be looking for one of these. Let's say you get a red candle that looks like this. Okay, and I'm actually working on my artwork. So I'm going to submit this to the Artist Institute of America. So we get a red candle right there. Okay, and then we go and we get a green candle that looks like this. So if we get something that happens like that down here, So we're coming down, and we get this pattern because this is what? It's the RZ, the reversal zone. And we could be looking for a reversal signal in there and then for price to come back up, right? If you see this pattern, look for that to happen. It's definitely something that we could trade, right? Ben's getting me off target again. He wants to talk about Doge. I haven't looked at Doge yet today. So let's see if I can pull that up. And it was kind of looking pretty cray-cray. Doge is cray-cray right now. Look at that, man. Boom. That is a crash. That is a big boy crash, right? That thing dropped down. However, what is this? This is a daily. Let's look at the hourly. And we have pretty strong. These moves are so big. The thing about this is these moves are so big percent-wise. These moves are massive. Like it just was. This is a 50% drop. Like that's a huge move. Like you're literally losing 50% of your money or making 50%, right? That's why people love this stuff, is because they can, well, they either hate it or love it because they can make so much so fast. So right now we have a channel and a triangle, and we'll just see what happens with it. If it breaks out, could move right back up. This is definitely something that you could. Oh, that's so hilarious. We got guys, like I'm just picturing it. I'm not a guy that can picture things, but I'm just thinking when Ben said picture millionaires. Bitcoin's a lot different though, because Bitcoin is big money. A lot of people aren't in Bitcoin anymore because it's so big money. But he's talking about future millionaires. You got these guys, they made the $1 million on paper, and they're looking at it and they're like spending the money in their minds. They're like, okay, my house is coming, got my new car. Oh yeah, I'm planning my big vacation. They got all of that in their mind, and then all of a sudden the thing tanks, and then they try to sell. That's what happens, right? They got all their money here. They're up $1 million, and then it comes down here, and they're like, "Oh man, I better sell before it's too late, before I give everything up." And then they make $5 here, right? They make $5, and then it takes back up, and then they're like, "Are you kidding me?" And then they buy up here again, and then they get cranked out, right? Yeah, and the talking heads, man, the talking heads are they're just crazy. They're like, "Oh man, this is so good," or they'll say, "It's so bad, it's so bad," this is so bad. Listen, I can't tease your brother, man. I can't tease him. It's not right. But hey, it could still bounce, right? Just you know what? Just if he's going to make it as a trader, he's got to take his profit. But long-term investment, this could still go. But like Ben was saying last time, is the fundamental side is pretty crazy on this. This fundamental is just not a good. And I should do some research on it and give you guys a report. Maybe I'll do that next week. I'll actually dive in and dig into some fundamental stuff on Dogecoin. But what I do know, which has really discouraged me, was the fact that it's unlimited, right? So I went into the big thing last week or Wednesday about being Bitcoin is limited, and that's where the value comes from. And Doge is unlimited, and anything that's unlimited is usually not going to go up a whole lot, right? Just because that's the way supply and demand works, right? Supply and demand, that's how it works. So let's take a look at Bitcoin here. I don't think Bitcoin dropped 50%. If it did, I would be shocked. Yeah, so Bitcoin, on the other hand, Bitcoin is still pretty solid, right? Bitcoin dropped, but that's no 50%. I mean, maybe. Let's see. It was pretty heavy. Um, let me change this BTC. You can see my charts from in the past when I was looking at this. I drew this channel. Look at this. I drew this way back then. And then I even drew this fib for targets. It went way past my expectations on that. But it went from 64,000 to 47. So that's still pretty significant on the percent. And that doesn't surprise me. And you know what? Listen, we might actually have a pretty significant drop here. Okay. Oh yeah, there you go. Biden is, he wants to stop Bitcoin because of the control situation. The government in general, they don't like it. I'm not sure how much Biden actually understands how it works, but his people are telling him. So they don't like it. They don't like it at all. But here's what we could see here. We could get one of these. We got this, right? What are we getting? What am I getting to? A head and shoulders, right? 1, 2, 3. And then we got the neckline, right? So if we get a head and shoulders pattern, so this is now, I'm talking out in the future. If we get a head and shoulders pattern, well, they don't just want a piece of it; they want to own it. They're not satisfied with a piece. They want total control, right? A piece isn't enough for them because they don't want anyone else to own something. Because if they do, they don't own it. They want to own everything. So we got a potential head and shoulders. It could just break right here and go down. I mean, this could be the head and shoulder here. We could be looking at one of these, a big mountain shoulder. If we do it, let me redraw it. So if we could look like this, just ignore those two little tinier ones, come back down and do that, and then have the neckline here and then come down. It could do that, right? But right now, this is pretty significant because this trend was broken. Okay, this trend was broken. So I think that from this point forward, I think any bounce should be shorted. And I'm not opposed to totally buying, but I think this is a kind of a trend changer. Because of this channel was broken, it's still moving up. I mean, it's still technically on the technical side, it's still bullish. I want to look at this moving average here. I mean, it's below the 50 if we look at the 200. So it's still technically bullish as long as it is above this. But I think it's probably going to run into this one. We have another trend line also. Looks like it's developing right here, which could be something to hold up. So it's the bull case isn't totally out of commission yet. But we have a trend line right here, which is also moving into the moving averages. So there's just a lot of things that could happen. But remember, just if you use your price action, you use the price action that you know, we could do something like this. We got the neckline. It comes back down here, and then a setup, and then the trend line, and then it continues. But that's going to take some time to develop. So right now, I would not imagine this up move to happen. You can see September. If it does take back up to the upside, it's going to be September. And again, I don't know if it's going to happen. This could be, we got a couple different trend lines. We got this trend line here. This one might hold to come up and do something like this. And then if it breaks this trend line, if this trend line breaks, then it's game over, right? Because it'll break the moving average and then it'll really start a downtrend. And here's the thing. We've been here before, guys. We've been here before, especially with Bitcoin. Let's take a look for Bitcoin. Right here. I mean, everybody was going crazy right here, and it looks so tiny now. That's the funny thing, is the market is just the moves are so huge. This looks tiny, but this was not tiny. This was insane. Okay. This was crazy. So this is going to be a big, important level if we do drop. It's going to be a big level right here. But this was really, really, really crazy. It's hard to even see it because it was just so crazy. This was nuts, right? This was like, okay, we went from 2,000 all the way up to 20,000. This was crazy, but look at the pattern that developed. And remember, we could have the same thing. Look at this pattern. This is like, seriously, Ben, you're full of good info. Thank you. This is a serious similarity, right? Look at this. Do you see this? Look at what happened. Do you see that big drop? And then what happened? We got that. And remember, I was talking about the head and shoulders. We got the head and shoulders pattern. 1, 2, 3. Head and shoulders. We got neckline. And then what happens on the neckline? Does anybody know what happens? Well, let's watch and see. Let's watch and see what happens. Boom, neckline right there. 13,000 neckline. And then it was game over. It was game over after that. And just kept on moving down. You see that? Look at that. Game over. And all of those millionaires, all of Ben's millionaire buddies, those Bitcoin millionaires got smoked. Okay. And I happen to know a lot of people that ended up buying it like 15,000 and they're up big. They're buying 15,000. It's at 18. They're like, yes. They're like, yes, retirement, here I come. And the next thing you know, their $15,000 Bitcoin's trading for 4,000. Okay. So let's go back to now. So any similarities? Okay. We see this big spike down. What's going to happen? I don't know. We could see history repeat itself. Get a neckline here, head and shoulders, and a drop. Okay, head and shoulders and a drop. So really, it's good to look back at these patterns and try to figure out what's going on. I think that Bitcoin is I still like Bitcoin a lot. The only thing I see against Bitcoin is that the powers that be hate it, right? And so that's a pretty big obstacle. Like the global world government that controls everything in all creation, the all-powerful, almighty, all-knowing, all-wonderful world government absolutely hates it and wants to see it die. That is kind of a big deal. So that by itself, other than that, it's really good, right? It's really good. So just trade it like you'd trade anything else. Use risk management principles, and that should help. So with this big drop, it could really things could cool off, right? So the thing about crypto and Bitcoin in general is I've seen this has actually happened in the past, and will it happen a third or fourth time? I don't know. But if we go back again, let's go back one more time. If we go back again to this move, there was actually another big move before this, right? Look, it had happened again. So funny. Just like Doge, right? It happens. Look at this exact same pattern. Look at this. Okay. Look at this. Okay. This was happening here, and we were getting Bitcoin millionaires. We went from $15 and spiked up, right? You see that big spike. Look at that. 250. This is in 13, right? So this is, again, the pattern has repeated. Yeah, they want to see it die, and the millennials love it. That's true. It's look at this pattern. Boom, big drop, big drop. What's going to happen? Let's watch it. And then it falls down. Now, this didn't really have a head and shoulders pattern because it's repeating itself, but it didn't have a head and shoulders because there was no shoulder here. I mean, there's kind of a shoulder here. Maybe this is the shoulder. I guess you could call this a shoulder. It just didn't really develop real clean. This is kind of like a shoulder right here. It wasn't clean, but you got the neckline, right? Shoulder, head. It's clean enough. And then what happens, right? Then it did it again, right? Did it again. So it just we might see the pattern play out one more time. We might see it play out one more time. Or who knows how many times. This thing might go down to 20,000, right? It might go all the way down to 20,000. Or 30,000, 20,000. It might be a couple of years. It might be several years. Hey, John. So what I use it's called pump and dump. But the problem is the dump doesn't stick, right? The dump doesn't stick. And with Bitcoin, honestly, they dump it, but it's the big difference, in my opinion, on the pump and dump is usually the pump and dump is worthless trash, right? They love to do it on worthless trash. They talk about all this great stuff about something, about how wonderful it is, and then they dump it, right? Like Dogecoin is kind of a pump and dump because I think Dogecoin is trash, but I don't think Bitcoin's trash. And that's why it keeps coming back, right? It doesn't keep coming back. So to answer John's question about crypto, I've been using Binance. I use Binance for my crypto. Yeah. Yugoslav, I really love your optimism, my friend. But they will see more and more people around the world slowly, but for sure the eyes will open. They'll see the lies. I don't think so. I personally don't think people will ever see the lies. Because I just use my regular currency trader for gold, and I also use gold ETF in my stock account, John. It's GLD is the symbol. I just showed it. Yeah, I just think that if we look at GLD right here, GLD, it's an ETF right in my stock account. But yeah, I think that I'm glad. I just think people believe lies. If the government tells them a lie, I think they believe it because they just don't want to do the deep research and study. It takes deep research and study. And they don't want to do that. Most people don't want to do that. So they just are happy to believe a lie, and they're not ever going to open up their eyes. That's what I think. But what do I know? Okay. All right, guys. So just a little heads up on an announcement on some things that are changing around here. I am going to be changing our hours for the summer for a couple different reasons. Number one is that patterns change in the summer, right? Yeah, Ben, you're right. Oh, that's true too, Linda. Linda's got I really appreciate that. It's perspective. Everything's about a perspective, right? And not everyone can see the information that they can see. Boy, that's good. I really appreciate that. Perspective is really important. Everything revolves around perspective. What, and I got distracted because I was going to tell you about my summer plans. One of my favorite movies is It's a Wonderful Life, right? And it's because I'm like Yugoslav. I'm a happy guy, and I love happy movies. But It's a Wonderful Life is great because the guy who was in the movie, I forget the name of his character actually, Mr. Bailey. Mr. Bailey was his life was horrible. He was stuck in the same position. He couldn't break free. He didn't impact anybody's life for positive. And then all of a sudden, one event changed his perspective, right? And once his perspective changed, then everything in his life changed. And that's why when Linda said some lies are a matter of opinion, Mr. Bailey in the movie Wonderful Life, he was believing a certain thing about his life. And those things weren't actually real. They were lies that he was believing about himself and about the impact that he had, right? And he had one encounter with an angel, and an angel changed his mind. He showed him what the reality was. And once he saw that reality, everything changed. Literally, in one instant, every single thing changed, right? In one instant. And so perspective, and not just opinion, but perspective and opinion is really important. Okay. All right. Now, back to my change. Yes, change is good. Change is good. And the reason change is good is because for me, change equals trying to make things better, right? Trying to make things better. And what I'm trying to make better is this. I'm trying to make this time together better for everyone. I'm trying to make it more impactful, more planned out, more being able to give you guys more updates. And so that's really the main change, is that I'm going to be backing off starting in May. I'm going to be changing my times, and I'm going to be scheduling them in advance once a month. And I'm going to do a lot of prep work on the front end, and the times are going to be really jam-packed with multiple amounts of information. So when you guys are going to be meeting with us as a group, when we meet together as a group, it's going to be a lot more meaningful. I'm not saying that this time hasn't been meaningful and good, and I've really enjoyed connecting with you guys, and I've hopefully been able to deliver some good info, but I want to really have my stuff together. Right? I want to be able to deliver something that you can't get anywhere else. And it's going to take me some time to put that together. Right? And so by doing that, it's going to be really good content, and I'm going to be doing it. So I'm going to keep my schedule next week. And then after that, starting in May, I'm going to be doing once a month, and I'm going to schedule it on the channel, and I'll send out an email too. So if you guys aren't on the email list, you might want to get that. Change is progression sometimes, Ben, sometimes, but not always. Sometimes things change for the worse. But in this case, we're hoping that change is for the better, and that's my intention, is improvement. I am constantly evaluating and constantly looking at every area of my life and constantly trying to do. I need to just be quiet and go home, but I want to just tell you one thing that I like to do, right? It is called a feedback loop, right? A feedback loop. So I get feedback, FB, and I evaluate that feedback. Is it good or bad? Okay. And I look at the good and the bad, and then I say, okay, what can I do to make it better? What changes do I need to make? And I just keep rotating, good or bad, and I take review, and then I act on it, right? And so if what I'm doing is good, okay, if it's good, then I'm saying, okay, it's good, so now we need to do more of that, okay? And then if it's bad, I need to remove the bad and do less of that or stop, right? And this is the secret, right? This is a real secret. Ben is so funny. This is a real secret, right? If you start stacking, if you start G stacking, I just created that term right now. G stacking. If we start G stacking, we're in an elite group right now. We know what the term G stacking means, right? We're the only ones in the entire planning that know what G stacking means. If you start G stacking, if you start taking all of this good and you just keep doing that, and then you start taking all this bad and you start removing it, that's called exponential, right? For you mathematicians, that's called parabolic, right? Boom. That's exponential growth, parabolic, right? Because why? Because we're getting rid of the bad and we're G stacking, right? And so that's what I'm doing here is I've just been evaluating what I've been doing and I've been taking the good and there's been a lot of good going on, but we're going to make it better, right? And we're going to make it, we're going to have bigger impact, better results, and it's going to be more fun, right? And that's the other thing is the F. You got to have the F for fun, right? It's got to be more fun, but see, not just fun for the sake of having fun, but fun as in we're going to have fun because we're going to be making parabolic growth, right? We're going to be making parabolic growth, which is for me, like, that's the only kind of fun that I really, unfortunately, for people that like to have fun, worthless, pointless fun that doesn't have any purpose, that's not really me. I'm the kind of fun is like, I like working hard and growing and seeing goals accomplished. For me, that's fun, right? So we might have a different definition of fun, right? So anyways, I'll keep you guys posted. I'll be here all next week. And after that, it's going to be once a month for the summer. And then we're going to reevaluate again and see what happens. But we're making a lot of growth and improvement. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. And you guys are the reason why we do what we do. And we really appreciate everyone. So thank you right now. And I will see you guys soon. Yeah, I'm going from Doge to Bitcoin. That's it. I'm rolling my money out of Dogecoin. I'm taking my $1 million and I'm rolling it into Bitcoin. And that's really good. It's a good way to trade. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys soon.